Black Lives Matters turns 10, and KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to be the exclusive media partner of the People's Justice Festival. This Saturday, July 15th, 12 to 6 p.m. in Leimert Park. Come join us as we celebrate the life-saving and history-making work of Black Lives Matter to help bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice. There will be live music performances, a children's village, giveaways, vendors, a healing justice space, Skillshare, and amazing speakers including Green Party presidential candidate Dr. Cornel West, live on stage at 4:30 p.m. For more information, go to blmgrassroots.org. That's www.blmgrassroots.org. Dominique DePrima and Tavis Smiley will be main stage hosts throughout the day, and the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation will be out in full force. So, join us this Saturday, July 15th, 12 to 6 p.m. at Leimert Park as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Black Lives Matter. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I done plant my seeds, now I'm rooted. Brown skin popping, I'm rooted. Can pull the hood out me, I'm rooted. Rooted, nappy head, rooted.
I know he see me looking at you, and I know you looking at me. Well, damn. DJ, won't you play this girl a love song? She really needs to hear this freaking love song. She's looking at me kinda hard, I can tell the things ain't right on the home front. What she really needs is a G like me to be the big.
Listen, what I really need is another Jamie Foxx album. I don't know if that's in his plans, but I would love it because let's be serious now. Jamie's albums, he put it down. Some classic styling right there. Shout out to Tank too because you can hear you can hear Tank in a lot of the background vocals for what Jamie puts out. I personally love Jamie as an artist, comedian, all of that. I think, honestly, no extras, no cap, not just because of this situation. I think that Jamie is one of the, if not the most talented entertainer that we have seen in the past 30 plus years, since he busted out on the scene, just to be able to tackle comedy, drama, music. He can actually play the piano. Just his talent is unmeasurable, and that's why we're happy that he could be walking around. Andy, what you have to say?
Man, I just want to co-sign your sentiments about Jamie Foxx. One thing about Jamie Foxx that I just think is just so dope. A couple weeks ago, where we were talking about certain hip hop artists like Busta Rhymes and Ludacris, for example, right? How they have this comedic thing about them where people don't take them serious. Jamie Foxx, on the other hand, I believe he kind of, when you look at the entertainment game, comedy was his first, shebang or whatnot. For sure. But the fact that he can go into his R&B bag, and you take him serious as an R&B crooner, as my man said earlier or whatnot. The fact that he can go ahead and act and play serious roles and still be taken serious. You don't laugh, when you see his face or whatnot. I just think that's very, very dope about him.
It's very rare. We need to appreciate his talents because what he brings, I feel like so real quick story. I've interviewed Jamie a couple of times, but I don't know if you've ever watched him move in and out of characters and the ease at which he does it. And you can be standing there talking to him like, most people have seen him describe his vision for a Mike Tyson movie that he would star in. And if you've ever seen him start discussing it and how he just flips and you're like, wow, am I talking to Mike? Like, it's not even a thought to him. It's not like, let me get ready or like you're getting ready for it. He just instantly dives into it. And then he'll just move back into his regular self. It's the craziest thing, but it's so on point. Just his ability to pull out those little idiosyncrasies and quirks of people and nail it. It's such a thing. But anyway, Jamie was spotted in a yacht over the weekend in Chicago. You know, he was up there, sunglasses on, little polo top, black shirt, chilling. The people in a boat next to him. I'm not sure what lake it was in Chicago, but you know that is where the facility that he is was said his daughter Corinne said that he was taken to recuperate from whatever medical complication he was suffering from, and he is at the facility that he is rumored to be at, or they said he was at, is known for neurological disorders, treating them, rehab, and things of that nature. One of the top in the nation. So we know that whatever is going on with Jamie, and again, we don't know, it hasn't been confirmed. We've heard various things from various sources, but nothing final. He looks to be doing quite well. Now, you know, the Twitter chatter had to kick in. Oh, before I say that, there was also another spotting that the Shade Room highlighted. A woman said that she lost her purse, and Jamie miraculously saw it, found it, and returned it to her and gave them the thumbs up. It's a quick video, and most of the video is spent with the woman and her friends reacting to seeing Jamie Foxx. But you see Jamie briefly at the beginning of the video. You can go check that out on the Shade Room if you're interested. But the conversation around both has been, is that really Jamie? Is it really Jamie on the boat? Because the video is so fast, and even though they slow it down, it looks like it could be Jamie, but we also have to recognize that Jamie is a part of Hollywood, right? And, you know, someone I follow, a gentleman named Artemis Gordon on Instagram, he posted some pictures of some other celebrities with their stunt doubles or their stand-ins from different films. And we know that Jamie was filming this, was shooting a film in Atlanta when this complication happened. The film starred Cameron Diaz, and we know that they weren't completed with filming when this situation happened. So they utilized his double to finish the film. So some are wondering, since, again, there's been a lot of conversation around what is Jamie's health status. And ultimately, we know that, you know, this is his health, and it is his family's right to keep that close to the vest, you know, as he develops and gets better. And we as fans just have to be patient. We know that it's out of love that we are concerned, but some are saying, no, Corinne is deflecting. No, all of this is a deflection, that Jamie is really still undergoing whatever medical complications he is dealing with. He's not healthy to be out, but to throw people off course. They had his body double come out there and walk around in Chicago and show it off. The thing that they are pointing to is that Jamie has always been very active on social media. If he had a message for his fans, if he had some commentary, he would come to social media and deliver it himself. And again, we aren't saying that we are owed anything. We are just concerned fans that love Jamie, that respect his work, that want to see the best for him. So people are asking, well, how come Jamie hasn't given us an update himself? Like, you know, he's been liking pictures, so he is utilizing Instagram in some capacity. Why can't he just upload a video real quick and say, hey, it's Jamie, I'm good, and keep that thing moving? You know, why can't he do that? That's what people want to know. That's what they're asking, especially with all these body doubles. I mentioned some the Instagram account that shared some pictures of actors with their stunt doubles or body doubles. One of them was Tom Cruise. I don't know if you've seen it. It's Tom and his two body doubles. And I dare you, if you find this picture, I dare you to really tell them apart, especially if you saw them from a little bit of distance away in motion. Would you know that it wasn't Tom? Would you be for sure? Would you be certain? He also went on to show some pictures with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his double. I believe it was Sophie Turner. There were quite a few that, you know, he gave examples of people seeing people and their others. Tony Yayo is in chat saying Netflix is dropping the film They Cloned Tyrone. Is that the film with Cameron Diaz? No, it is not. They cloned Tyrone. It's with John Boyega, and I can't remember who else is in the cast. It was filmed a while ago. It's done the film festival circuit. I think it's coming out in a couple of weeks. Jamie also has another film that's coming out, Strays, where it's just his voice. It's him and Will Ferrell, and it's about two dogs that go on an adventure. So I'm sure if it happens before the strike, there will be some press for that. So just kind of wondering, when will we see Jamie again to us, talking directly to us? Once again, I want to state, Jamie owes us nothing. He's given us so much. However, we're just concerned fans. We just want to know a little bit, see a little bit, make sure he's okay. So if you have a comment or you have an opinion on whether or not that's Jamie, drop it in the chat. Hit us up on social media or give us a call, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580, and, share your thoughts with us. Now, when we come forward, we're going to talk more about some hip-hop, some music things. We have a question. This question started from Tony Yayo when he was on the Drink Champs podcast, and it was a debate. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into who is the better storyteller. Is it Biggie Smalls or Ice Cube? We're going to talk about it. We're going to even get some commentary from O'Shea Jackson Jr., that's Cube's son, and we're going to throw out some hypotheticals. We're going to throw out some songs. We're going to compare a little bit and have a discussion on who you think is better. All that and more on the other side with RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
I'm James Alexander, a proud member of AARP. 1967, I was 17. That spring, my friends, the Barcades, and I made Soulfinger. It was a hit. Number 3 on the charts. That summer, we became the great Otis Redding's band. First gig, the famed Apollo. That fall, we toured. That winter found me in a morgue identifying the bodies of my bandmates and Otis Redding. My music and their memories bring me joy. The Barcades, forever.
What would you call a joy that is as solemn as it is sweet and knows no bounds? A joy that's beautifully rooted in soul and resilience. This is Black Joy, a joy that reflects pride and honor despite every challenge. AARP believes the power of Black joy is limitless, and we celebrate this joy supreme. Join us in celebrating Black joy at aarp.org/blackcommunity.
To my hometown, my community. Some of you have known me my whole life. Do you notice anything different about the kids in the neighborhood? Ever paid attention? We might start with gifts, money, attention. These are signs. Child trafficking is happening right here in this town. So don't just watch through the window. Pay attention. Because the more we know, the more we'll all know to say no. Learn the signs to look for and how to help at no-to-say-no.com.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kinda odd. No barking from the dog, no small. And mama cooked the breakfast with no hog. I got my grub on, but didn't pig out. Finally got a call from a girl I wanna dig out. Hooked it up for later as I hit the dope. Thinking, will I live another 24? I gotta go, cause I got me a drop top. And if I hit the switch, I can make the ass drop. Had to stop at a red light, looking in my mirror, not a jacker in sight. And everything is all right.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for starting off with a bit of storytelling from the King, Ice Cube. You know, because we're going to get into that topic. We are going to be talking about who is the better storyteller as far as hip hop. I didn't say the better rapper. I said the better storyteller. We're going to talk about that. But first, I got to give you a couple of conversation starters. Just, you know, some headlines and topics that are buzzing out there that we're not going to really get too much into, but we might get into them another day. First up, I got to let you know that Comic View is making its return to BET+. It's going to be streaming. It's going to be produced by Kevin Hart, and he is bringing it back. And you will never guess who one of the comedians that he's starting with is going to be. It's T.I. I don't know if you saw T.I.'s comedy showcase when he was on that tip. You know, there were a couple of scenes of him at shows and it didn't seem to go so well, but T.I. is serious about his comedy. So he will be on Comic View when it comes to BET+. Now, what the dates are on that, we're waiting to see, but just want to let you know that it is coming. In some dating news or potential dating news, you know who Coily Ray is, right? Coily Ray is a rapper. She is rapper Benzino's daughter, or should I call Benzino a reality star? Because really, calling him a rapper, I don't know. Anyway, you know. But he did run the Source at one time, so, you know, we'll give him that. Anyway, she was discussing how there have been a few suitors who are trying to get at her, get up with her. And one of those people that has been in high pursuit, Power Book 2 Ghost star Gianni Paolo. Now, if you know, that is Tariq's sidekick, Braden, right? And we know Braden seems to have a cookout invite or angling for it. And I'm saying Braden, not Gianni. I'm using his character's name on purpose. But he says that when he shot his shot at Coily Ray, he hit her up on DM. He got left on red. He said that he feels like he'd rather stay single, but right now, the one that he wants, it's team single for life. It's Coily Ray. And he said she left him on red, and he showed it to Michael and everything. And Michael was just like, that's crazy. Michael is Tariq, Michael Rainey Jr. Anyway, so, you know, he's shooting his shot, and Coily Ray is like, no, thank you. No, I'm not interested. No. So we got him out there doing that. And also, lastly, Drake wants you guys to know that if you have a problem with his fingernail polish, you are simply being homophobic. He said that Lil Uzi Vert was the one that told him to add fingernail polish to his regimen to help him stop biting his nails. And he kind of likes the look of it. But now he is being subjected to all this homophobia and toxic masculinity. So, you know, he said it's the first time that this has all happened to him like this since Rich Flex. I don't really know the correlation. I might have forgotten something that took place when Rich Flex was out, but y'all leave Drake alone. He's just being fashionable and, maybe a little, I won't say clout chasing, a little trendy. Maybe he's just, trending up. We've seen other men rock nail polish and it's just made its way around to Drake. So not a big deal. Now, on to the topic that we said we were going to discuss. So Tony Yayo, who was part of G Unit with 50 Cent back in the day, all of that stuff, started out with him, rode with him. He was on the Drink Champs podcast. This was a 5-hour episode. I definitely haven't made my way through the entire episode yet. However, there's some clips that are being released, and one of the topics that came up was who was Yayo's top rapper. And he was talking to DJ Effin. DJ Effin is Noriega's sidekick who hosts Drink Champs. And Effin was born here in LA, moved to Miami. And he said in his top 5, before Biggie, was Ice Cube. He said that Ice Cube is an amazing storyteller, better than Biggie. And we know that that's always what's talked about with Biggie, the visual imagery that he gives with his rhymes. So we're going to kind of discuss it. O'Shea Jackson Jr., that's Cube's son, he weighed in when he saw the commentary and he was like, people know who my GOAT is, so it's not fair to even ask me. But what I will say is that Life After Death, that's Biggie's second album, the double album, was a whole concept that was pulled directly from Death Certificate. He said, you could ask Diddy if I'm lying. It's all love at the end of the day. We know that one of the things that Diddy was doing with Bad Boy Records, what he talked about with Biggie, was he liked what the West Coast was doing. He liked what Dre did when he released The Chronic, how visual it was, how you could see it. Snoop in 93 with Who Am I, What's My Name, all of that. So that's not false. That's not, conjecture. They really were inspired to a degree by the West Coast and that storytelling. But let's run it back. Let's talk about some of the things, because I think that especially now where people are sort of maybe at odds with Ice Cube, they don't really maybe love all the politics that he's bringing forward or feel conflicted by it. They are confused at the seemingly Magna involvement with the big three, what have you. We can talk about that another day. But if we were talking about old school Ice Cube with NWA that debuted when he was like 16 years old, writing raps for Easy and Dre and the rest of the group, his pen game was a little deadlier than MC Ren's, and we know Ren, the villain, was known for his pen game. We got to really take a look at it. Right? He put NWA on top of the world. We know all the hits that came there. He left the group in 89, right? He dropped his first solo LP in 1990, America's Most Wanted. We know that had hits and hits and hits. He got with Public Enemy's producers because Eazy-E would not let Dr. Dre, well, not Easy per se, but Jerry Heller and Easy wouldn't let Dre produce anything on Cube's album because, contracts, yada, 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 all of that stuff. We know what he did in Boys in the Hood, but let's look at his music. I got some songs that I want to run down for you that may or may not be familiar if you're not a true West Coast fan, a true deep hip hop fan of Cube's, that I think as far as storytelling are things that you want to pay attention to. Now, obviously, we know F the Police and all the stuff he did with NWA. I'm not going to even run down that. I am going to start with, in his solo career, right? Because cinematic raps are a thing, but I think that when you think about Ice Cube breaking out with that first album, it didn't have your typical West Coast sound. It wasn't the slow groove, G-Funk is what we now call it. A lot of, Parliament, Funkadelic samples, that sort of thing. James Brown breakbeats. It was very much the chaotic noise of the East Coast. the Bomb Squad, if you listen to Public Enemy, it's very loud, lots of tracks. So to compete with that as far as your lyrics and break it down is, not an easy thing to do. So I'm going to throw up some tracks, and if you're in the chat or if you feel like calling in, 800-920-1580, we can talk about it. One of the first songs that I want to talk about is a song called Summer Vacation. In it, Cube breaks down how LA gangs were in the beginning of the crack epidemic, how they moved the crack trade and ventured out into other cities and other states, and how they left that influence, how they were taking over corners after corners, and how Blood and Crips made their way from LA to other states. I think that is a track you should check out if you have questions about Cube as far as his storytelling and the visuals he brings to the table. And keep in mind, Cube and Biggie are kind of in the same era, but kind of not. Cube obviously got his start late 80s, early 90s. Like I said, Death Certificate dropped, I think, in April or May of 1990. No, America's Most Wanted dropped in April or May of 1990. Death Certificate dropped a month or two after Boys in the Hood was released. Obviously, if you're thinking about that soundtrack of Boys in the Hood, How to Survive in South Central, where you go on a street tour through all the different parts of South Central and you meet the different types of people you were likely to run into at that time period. Another song that had a lot of storytelling elements to it. Cube also early on was, I feel like, one of the first, as far as West Coast rappers, that was not only talking about, the normal fun stuff, the party stuff, what he saw in the hood, but about the economic battles that blacks were in with their neighbors, as far as what we were going through with Korean grocers at the time, the Korean community as far as, and the Asian community as far as like beauty supplies and shops like that. So there's a song Cube had called Black Korea. And in it, Cube broke down the tensions between Asian business owners and black customers in South Central. It was not too long after Latasha Harlins was shot. She was the 15-year-old who was shot for allegedly attempting to steal orange juice here in South Central. I believe that was in 1991. This was right before the riots happened. Obviously, we know when the riots happened in 92, a bunch of Asian stores were burned down because it was the battle and rising up. So that's about 3 songs that I'm giving you to think about as far as Cube and storytelling. We're going to get to Biggie, but I decided to start with Cube because I feel like when you think about storytelling and you go into that conversation, people don't readily have songs that they reach for Cube besides Today Was a Good Day. When we come forward, I'll continue with that list. We'll get into what some of the Biggie songs are that you can check out, and we're going to look at how the two stack up as far as early in their career, because obviously Cube's body of work is much longer. Biggie only really had 2 albums, a few features, and a mixtape, and before his career was cut down, his life actually. So we're going to get into all of that and more when we come forward. You are checking out KBLA Talk 1580 RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Take a close look at a rap crook. Rule number 1, get yourself a gun, a 9 in your butter beat fun. Keep it in your glove compartment, cause jackers, they love to get it started. Now if you're white, you can trust the police, but if you're black, they ain't nothing but beef. Watch out for the kill, don't make a false move and keep your hands on the steering wheel. Don't get smart, answer all questions.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Over 42 million Americans are under heat warnings this week. Extreme heat is already hitting the Southwest in states including California and Arizona, and the dangerous conditions are only expected to get worse. In Texas, a new state law passed this year bars homeowners associations from excluding renters who receive federal assistance paying their rent. The Providence Homeowners Association last year barred landlords from renting to Section 8 tenants. Most of the neighborhood Section 8 renters were black, so critics saw the rule as endless racial discrimination. Wall Street is closing higher as investors brace for the start of second quarter earnings season. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 209 points at 33,944. The S&P 500 added 10 points to 4409, and the Nasdaq rose 24 points to 13,685. That's the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hot, dry weather means making sure water isn't wasted. So for the love of water, California, everyone has a part to play when it comes to reducing water use. Let's make conservation a way of life. Find ways to conserve at SaveOurWater.com.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, could potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Who y'all talking to, man? Check it out. Check it out. This here goes out to all that be mad in other cribs. Think it's sweet. Creep up on your live expected. Check it. I kick flows for ya, kick down doors for ya, even left all my mother for ya. This thing Frankie whip, the picture that with the Kodak, Instamatic. We don't get down like that. Lay my game down quite flat. Sweetness.
You know the thing that I love the most about Biggie, A Story to Tell, is that he goes through the whole rap and he's obviously telling you the story as he kicks it. Then you get to the end of the song and he's just like, you know, passing the blunt back to his boy and he runs it back again just like in casual conversation. That was a genius song, storytelling on 10. You know, you could just picture like the chick with the New York Knicks guy and him coming in and all of that. I mean, very, very visual. Can't lie. Extremely visual. Like, I'm a fan. That's one of my faves. Andy?
Who's the Knicks player?
What did they say? John Starks?
That was a lot of speculation, but John Starks is not. What did he say, 6'5" or something like that?
Oh, that's right. John Starks is like 6'2", 6'3", right?
Okay. Somebody taller.
Wait, not Charles Oakley. Wait.
I don't even know the answer.
Here's the thing. I do know, though. I know who it was speculated for. They said, I'm going to come back with that.
I want to say it was Charles Smith.
Maybe it was Charles Smith, and maybe that's why I said Charles. I know this because it was somebody unexpected. Like, I remember thinking at the time, like, was he talking about Allen Houston?
No, that was
cute. But that was after, I mean, it was before Allen Houston's era, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know, but
was it official? Did we really know who it was, or was it still
I feel like
speculation?
It was speculation and rumors, and somebody dropped saying it was supposed to be this person. But it was never like really, really confirmed. I'm Googling it right now. Oh, Fat Joe said, that's right. Fat Joe said that it was, okay, it's not about Anthony Mason, but someone said it was Anthony Mason, but they said that after Mason passed away. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that is, Diddy confirms the Notorious Big's I Got a Story to Tell. It was about Anthony Mason. This is from Slam Magazine. Let me see what the date on it is. Mace is tough. Like, that's crazy. This was from an article in 2016. So, and Puff allegedly said it on The Breakfast Club. So, Anthony Mason. I mean, wow.
I mean, hey.
Okay.
Anybody can get got. I mean,
anybody can get it, and you know what you gonna do. So Tony Yayo in the chat, he said that he is more familiar with Ice Cube's West Side Connection phase. He was a kid in the early '90s, but that because of his influences from his older brother, he listened to more East Coast stuff during that time period. So he was on Wu-Tang. His favorite West Coast rappers, though, and that music during that time period were Snoop and Dre, the universal favorites. Then Corrupt and Daz, Dog Pound, obviously Warren G. So there you go. I think what you can say about all West Coast rappers of that era, going back to even DOC, is that they were going to give you visuals. You felt like you were in the moment. You know, it encapsulated South Central LA in that time period in the early 90s. You know, people still come to LA looking for those vibes. I mean, probably not the actual dry vibe, but they want to see a gangbanger or two on the corner. They want to see a palm tree by a flamed up guy. They want to see it all. They want the true LA treatment. I don't think they really do, but they think they do. But that's a story for another day. So another song that I want to get into from Cube really quickly, since we touched on that Biggie, obviously I was going to talk about A Story to Tell because, you know, that's greatness. But No Vaseline. I know that is a diss rap, but come on now. that was one of the earliest where you saw friends flip on each other. That track was raw. Nobody was expecting it. Cube came out the gate swinging hardcore, and it was very visual, right? You could like kind of picture the things and rock with him on that. And let's be real, Ren is solid, but the NWA album that came after Cube left, N Words for Life, it was spelled backwards. I remember being shocked and appalled at that album. It probably people wouldn't bat an eye these days, but at all of the language in there, but the beats were kind of cool, but it didn't have that same firepower. They needed Cube's pen in the mix, okay? We'll just say that. But let's talk about Biggie, because I'm not dissing Biggie. I mean, I do have a certain amount of West Coast bias, but I recognize it. I put it out there. I let you know that it's there. I don't really have a dog in the fight. I don't know who I think is the better storyteller. Again, their eras kind of overlap, but kind of don't. Biggie came on the scene in 93 as Biggie with Dreams, where he was talking about all the R&B chicks that he would tag. There also was one other song that I can't remember. I think it was on the Who's the Man soundtrack. I'm blanking on what that was exactly. But, so they kind of overlapped. Different, but kind of the same era. So let's get into some Biggie songs that are obviously thematic, that we feel like we're hearing pure gangsters fairy tales. So everybody's going to have a story to tell in their top 3, right? But what about Warning? I think that is a song very visual. You can feel the red dot on your head. Even if you didn't know what they were talking about, you instantly take that in, right? N-Words Bleed, that's another song where there's a lot of storytelling to that. Hypnotize and One More Chance, obviously top of the list. Party jams, hits. More Money, More Problems. Now, granted, that's a feature, but I think that is very visual. He talks about some things that, bring imagery and visual thoughts to mind. The OG single, the unveiling of Notorious Big, Juicy, that had a very specific visual like cadence. Everybody could picture having Word Up magazine right on Black Beat, all the posters on their walls. They could hear, it may not have been Mr. Magic in your city. I don't know what my Saturday night mixtape, we just talked about it, probably Greg Mack, K-Day, something like that. But you could picture all of that in Biggie's rap on your own. So, what say you, Andy? Who's your vote for? Is it Cube? Is it Biggie? Who are you putting it down with?
I'm like Tony Yayo a little bit. I was a baby when NWA was popping.
Right.
So Death Certificate and what was it? The Predator, I believe.
Predator. That was the third one, yeah.
I was still like a kid.
About 10, 11, running around. No, younger than that?
What
I think Predator came out in like 96, 97. Like
really?
I said, yeah, maybe a little earlier than that, because Death Certificate was 93 after Boys in the Hood, and 90 was America's Most Wanted. So those are kind of, and then after that was West Side Connection. So
got you.
Bow Down, and then Cube was fully in his acting bag too. So
Absolutely.
You got We Be Clubbing.
Yeah,
that's
like
definitely
my
that was a different.
Sure.
Excuse me again. Which was a different Ice Cube era. I think that it was definitely poignant, but Film Cube took him to another stratosphere.
Definitely.
But I also think that because of that, not that his music suffered, but it was on the back seat, because probably those film checks were probably better than whatever he was getting on the music side at that point, and that was where his focus was. So
even at a young age, though, I knew Ice Cube's impact with regards to music was big and heavy. So I always, I had a reverence for him. For me, it was a good day. You know what I mean? My summer vacation is crazy. When you outlined all of those songs, it was like I knew about these songs as a kid, but it wasn't as impactful for me. As an adult, I'm saying, I'm able to listen back. I listened to these songs, and these songs were definitely prolific or whatnot.
Especially where we are now and all of the things that happen in relations. It's like, Cube was really talking that mess.
Absolutely.
In the 90s. He tried to tell us, tried to put us on,
Right. I think the main difference really is more so the subject matter and the content. And I think Ice Cube was definitely coming from a more community, political space as opposed to Biggie. Biggie was just kind of just sharing his life.
Biggie was rocking the crowds. I mean, Cube was a revolutionary of the time. And I think that is often, obviously we've had the Tupac Biggie debates for years. So this in some ways is an extension of it or a different side of it. But what I've always maintained is that for Biggie rocked, like, I loved Biggie rocking a party. I love, that's mob music. You riding out in a car, you want to hear that, you want to party and you turned up. Mm-hmm. But as far as Pac, and I guess, in some ways, maybe Cube, if we're kind of making that bridge, they touched my soul because they were talking about different things that impacted you, especially at that time period. Yeah. The music that they were putting out at that time, considering everything that was going on, it mattered. And it was different as far as Cube from what was being put out on the West Coast. Right. Speaking of, standing up for Black lives and putting it all out there, Black Lives Matter turns 10. And this weekend, they have the People's Justice Festival taking place on July 15th in LA at Leimert Park. It's on Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. There's going to be performances, a children's village. So we got the kids while you get, all of that education, that good knowledge going on. The kids have something to do. Giveaways, speakers, vendors, a healing justice space, all that and more. Check out blmgrassroots.org if you want more information. And if not, hit up Leimert Park Saturday, July 15th from 12 to 6 p.m. to celebrate Black Lives Matter turning 10. Now back to this hip-hop stuff. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come forward, we'll talk a little more Biggie and Ice Cube, and I almost said Pac because, that's the usual conversation thing. And then we'll also get into a little bit of Nelly versus Future, who had the better career. All that and more. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hollywood Walk of Fame stars in 2024. Stay tuned to find out who's in next year's class. I'm Aisha Cairo with your K-Black Minute News. A new group of 31 entertainment professionals across film, television, radio, recording, and sports entertainment will have their names etched into Hollywood's history in 2024. One of the most celebrated names on the list was the beloved Chadwick Boseman. Others for the class of 2024 in Hollywood Walk of Fame was this year's Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh in the motion picture category. Other notable names include Chris Pine, Gwen Stefani, Andre, Dr. Dre, Young, Otis Redding, Christina Ricci, Brandy Norwood, Harry Washington, and more. The dates for the star ceremonies have not yet been scheduled. To find out all 31 inductees, visit youtube.com/Walk of Fame.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like watering your lawn during the hottest time of the day and leaky faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
Want my secret for how to prep for summer getaways and get-togethers and get everything for less? Get to Kohl's. I just went and saved an extra 20% on sunny day essentials, like tees for my husband for $9.99, an adorable sport for my daughter, plus all the grilling tools we needed for a great barbecue. So get to Kohl's and save on cool finds for hot days. You'll thank me later. Select styles, 20% offer ends July 9. Some exclusions apply. See storecoles.com for details.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it is Jill Munroe. You are checking out RSVP VIPs. We are coming to the end of the night, and we have had so much discussion. I really enjoy hanging out and talking with you guys every night. I especially enjoy our hip-hop critiques and conversations. So I'm going to hit you with one more before we close for the evening. And this is something I spotted on Twitter. So there was a debate. I saw it on DJ Artistic's timeline. If you're not familiar with DJ Artistic, he is an LA native, went to college in Florida, I think Florida and FAMU. There it is. FAMU. Okay. Let me not mess up my HBCU. Anyway, there was a conversation about who had the better career, Nelly or Future, who was hotter at their peak. And, you know, we like Future Hendrix. I still listen to March Madness. I'm going to turn up to Rich Sex. There's a plethora of songs of Future that I am listening to. However, I think that it is recency bias that people are talking about Future had a better career at his peak than Nelly. The disrespect is crazy to me. First and foremost, right? Nelly came out during a time period where there was no social media to, introduce yourself and keep it moving. Nelly had no cosign. At that point in time, especially, people were coming out with crews. There was one female in an all-male crew. There were crews dominant, and there was a little bit of the South. There was West Coast. There was East Coast, but there definitely was no Midwest representation. And Nelly burst on the scene with that Band-Aid under his eye and, an attractive physique a la LL Cool J. Just had to mention that because ladies did love Nelly. And he brought something different, his lingo, his diction, everything. He gave us something different. So I feel like the thought that, because it was so long ago, like, maybe you guys really don't understand. Well, not you guys, but the people that were having this conversation. I mean, he's one of the most successful artists of the 2000s. Country Grammar was certified diamond. This is a time when people had to physically go to the record store and purchase a product. Not only that, it was during the peak bootlegger era, where people were bootlegging stuff, and it was at the start of LimeWire. Andy, come in. I know you got some commentary.
And it was at the peak of Eminem's kingship of hip-hop.
True.
And it was at a time when Dr. Dre just dropped the Chronic 2001. Well, actually, that was 99. But that Chronic, it carried over until like 2001, literally. So the fact that Nelly was popping during that time, just saying.
Nellyville, which I believe was his second album, went 6 times platinum worldwide. And then he released a dual album. Remember when that was all the rage? Everybody was releasing double albums and didn't really have enough content to fill out both of those albums. That's a story for another day. However, Sweat and Suit, remember Sweat was the more rugged side. Suit was the smooth down, sort of GQ side of him. That went 3 times platinum as well, right? And then he did a follow-up, a Sweatsuit compilation LP that also went gold. So when you look at it, millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people were vibing out to Nelly. We saw Nelly on the Super Bowl during that time period. He was up there with, I believe it was like Justin Timberlake and NSYNC and Britney and Aerosmith, maybe. Can't remember who all of that was. But this also comes at an interesting time period. Maybe part of the reason that this was brought up is that Nelly has recently sold his catalog, maybe half of his recorded music assets, for $50 million. The deal includes most of his iconic tracks, including Ride With Me, Dilemma, which features Kelly Rowland, Hot in Here, and more. Both of those tracks topped the Billboard Hot 100 for multiple weeks. As we've mentioned earlier in our shows, there's been no hip-hop track to reach number one on the Hot 100 in 2023. And it's the first time that's happened in 30 years. Andy, come on, I know you got some commentary. What say you?
I think you broke everything down. I mean, there's nothing I really could say.
Okay.
Nelly was the man.
So let me give you a little bit on Future, because I don't want to make it seem like I am not, just pushing Future's stats by the wayside. We first heard of Future, at least mainstream, all of us. Like, you Atlanta people, I know you were on him way early. You knew about Future before, whatever. Cool, right? But we, the average public, probably heard of Future in about 2011 when he started gaining popularity with DJ Esco and his mixtapes. But 2015, What a Time to Be Alive, that mixtape is what really pushed him into international success. We know he has frequent collaborations. In 2017, he became the only artist to knock his own album out of the number one spot on the charts. So, we're not saying that Future isn't putting it down, right? He had basically the whole Atlanta sound. Let's see. His first commercial hit was Rax in 2011. What else? Metro Boomin, Mike Will made it, Sony Digital. Those were all some of the producers on his project. In 2017, he had 32 top 10 R&B hip-hop hits as a headliner or a featured artist. 11 of his full-length projects, including a platinum run of DS2 in 2015, EVOL, I forget what that stands for right now because it's very late, was in 2016, and Future in 2017, all debuted within the top 5 of the Billboard 200. Future also ended the 2010s by adding his top 20 tally with a Grammy-winning King's Dead performance and a remake, for the remake of he co-produced a remake of Superfly. And again, he got on the Billboard charts in the top 200 again with The Wizard in 2019, and then High Off Life in 2020, which was his 8th proper album. So, Future had a decade-long run that was nice. Life is Good with Drake, that was another collaboration that we loved, had several top 10 hits. However, he wasn't touching the people like Nelly was. Nelly had a whole clothing line for women, apple-bottom jeans. Have you forgotten that? He also had Vocal, but I don't know how many of you guys were rocking Vocal. I don't think you were. Anyway, that is all of the trending topics for tonight. Tomorrow we will be back with more. You have been checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe. When we come forward, the next, I guess it's not really a voice, the next voices that you will hear are the best of KBLA. Thank you for rocking with us all day. Make sure you are locked and loaded here, VIPs, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. to check me out. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Have an amazing evening.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for sharing a part of your Monday morning with us here on the Black Information